I was determined to enjoy my battles and to know that the story of my life will ultimately be a happy one.
Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast. Discover yourself, break out of mediocrity, and become the mom you've always aspired to be. Here's your host, Kirsten Tyrell.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. I'm excited. I'm going to be chatting with Emily Scanlan, and she's got us off to a sweet start. She's literally kind of taking a break from frosting cupcakes to talk to me right now, and all I want to do when we're done is go and get a cupcake. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to chat with you and get to know you here while everybody else is listening.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to talk with you.
Me too. Okay, so tell everybody, first of all, your mommy situation, how many kids you have, kind of the ages and stages that they're in.
I have 2 children. I have a son who is 10 years old and a daughter who is 8. I feel like it's a very fun season of life right now.
Yeah.
We're out of the diapers and bottles and all of that. So
it's kind of a nice, I've heard it just gets a little bit busier, but it's a little less demanding in the way that you're the diaper changing and even the potty training when every little step of their life needs to be assisted is so exhausting. But I'm sure it's a different exhausting now, I'm sure.
Yes. I always think back, and it's the physical exhaustion when they're toddlers and you're chasing them and trying to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And as they get older and more independent, it's more of the emotional exhaustion. But yeah. It's a great season, and, nothing we moms can't handle.
Yep. I know. Isn't that amazing? We don't know what we're made of until we become mothers.
Exactly.
We grow a whole new heart, a whole new set of armor. It's amazing what happens for our kids.
It really is. And after I had the birth of my first, you're like, how can I love anything more?
Yeah.
And then, your heart just grows and you can love more.
Yep. It's true. It's amazing. So tell us a little bit about this beautiful business that you have going on. I know you kind of left a traditional job setting to be more available to your kids. So tell us about that.
So many, many years ago, my sister actually was saying she loved to bake to basically pay for her Christmas. And I was like, what? And she goes, oh yeah, once a year in the fall, she decided just to make cinnamon rolls, cupcakes, cookies. And I come from a family of bakers. My grandma loved to bake and taught us to make pies and cookies and cakes. And so one summer I went out to my sister's and she's like, okay, here's what I do. Here's how I price everything. And so it started as just like a way to pay for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of just turned into this once a year. I just have an open house where people can come. And through that, people just started ordering, wedding cupcakes, or my signature cookie is a sugar cookie. And I get a lot of orders for that for birthday parties and baptisms and, you name it. Yeah. So
wow.
So that's kind of how it went. And like you said, I had a traditional job. I was in real estate, and I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't find it super fulfilling. And so I quit just probably about a month ago, and I've been home with the kids and baking and just kind of enjoying life more.
So you're in the Arizona heat, which is, how is it right now so far? This is May when we're doing this recording. Are you dying yet?
Okay, so we hit 100 degrees yesterday.
No.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I'm not ready for this.
Oh.
And yeah, I'm dying.
That
I'm
sounds
melting.
Awful. How do you even handle doing all the baking when it's so, I'm sure your air conditioning bill racks up.
It really does. It's really sad. July and August are probably the worst months because it gets, 115, 120. And honestly, being in the kitchen is awful during those months. So I don't do a ton of baking, but it's hard for me to say no when people, can I get a dozen cupcakes for my niece's birthday? Of course you want to.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like, okay, I will.
Sure. I can suffer.
Yes. It's hot, but it's fulfilling.
Yeah, I'm excited to share some of the photos of your work here on like the blog that goes along with this episode. And I honestly wish Arizona wasn't quite so far. I mean, I don't want to travel into the 100-degree weather, but I want a cupcake.
Come in December.
Okay. That's the last time I think I was in Arizona was December or January. And I was actually surprised. I was like, oh, it stays warm here all the time, but it's not scorching. It was actually pretty nice. So I'll take your advice for that, and I'll kind of stay away in the summer months.
Yes, stay away in the summer. It's very pleasant in the winter.
Yeah.
So come out in the winter.
Sounds like a good plan. So it's kind of, you only quit about a month ago, but even before you were, doing the baking and the mommy stuff full time, do you feel like it's freed up a lot of opportunity for you to be able to be involved with your kids? I mean, I know you kind of told me before that you're able to volunteer at the kids' school more and that you make it to the gym. Was that kind of your lifestyle before, or has it really opened up more excitement to do a little bit more in a different way?
Yeah, I wanted to be more involved with the school aspect of it. I was almost getting jealous of these teachers who see my kids more than I do at this point. And so it's been great. I get to go in the classroom. I volunteer events. It was teacher appreciation this week. I got to help with the breakfast, be around the kids. I help with a reading program that our school has every Friday. So it puts me at the school at least once a week. And it's just, to me, all the kids bring me joy. So to be over there and to be around them, and especially to see my kids during the school day, it's great for me. I love it.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sure it means a lot to your kids too, to see you there.
Oh, yeah. I think the more we give them, the more they give back. And it makes everyone happy and pleasant. And
yeah.
So I love that.
So how comfortable are you talking about your 10-year-old and his like anxiety disorder? I mean, you mentioned it, but you just tell me if you want to go there.
Yeah. In fact, I feel like it's been a lonely journey. So I feel like talking about it, if someone has the same thing going on, that there's hope and it does get better. So real quick, he's 10 years old, was diagnosed with anxiety and OCD probably about 3 years ago. And when I had heard that, it's just kind of a label, anxiety and OCD. But when you get into the everyday stuff of life, it's really challenging and hard. And one example is when I make his lunch, I have to wear gloves. This OCD he won't eat food if anyone touches it. So it's, did you touch that? Did you put your hands in the chips? Did you, so we're very careful. We wear gloves and prepare his food. And, but for me, it's the anxiety is something I don't personally suffer with. And so it's been a very educational journey for me.
Yeah.
He gets anxious over things that maybe I wouldn't. And so I don't really understand. But about 6 months ago, he was diagnosed with panic disorder. I don't know if you've ever seen anyone have a panic attack, but it's very scary.
Yes, it is very scary.
And at 10 years old, to have your son rolling around on his bed saying, I think I'm going to die, I'm going to die. As a mom, you want to comfort him and take that from him. And I wasn't able to. I couldn't.
That is so hard.
It's so hard. And it's our role to protect them. And so that was very eye-opening for me. But he has been to counseling. He's on medication. And I think as you work with your pediatrician and either psychologist or psychiatrist, it is very manageable. I don't think there's ever going to be a cure per se, but to manage it, to see my child happy again and working hard in school, because he was out of school maybe 6 or 7 days because of the panic attack. And you just, oh my gosh, it's never going to go away. And this is so hard, but it's completely manageable, but you have to get in, you have to seek that help. And that's what I mean. It's been kind of a lonely journey. One thing that may work for another child may not work for yours. So we've tried all sorts of things, and I think we found the right dosage of medication for him, and we're very open. We talk a lot about it. And my husband's very supportive and talks with him. And we just found that being a listening ear and not saying, oh, come on, get it together.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's sad that that's instinctive, but it's true. Like, to just be like, oh my gosh, you're fine. Even as a mom, I relate to those memes that are like, other moms are like, oh honey, what happened? And I'm over here like, I told you not to play on that. You were going to fall and get hurt, you know? Like, I told you. So I think it would be hard to have that compassion, especially when you don't really understand it. You'd probably have one panic attack and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is what he's experiencing on the regular, you know?
Exactly.
So
it's so sad.
It's hard, but what have you kind of done for yourself as you've had to be that strength for him to kind of keep yourself at a point where you can be helpful? Because it is, you know, again, it's that mother armor, but what has kind of helped you and given you perspective?
I love that you said mother armor. I feel like I've had to arm myself, and I've read a lot of books. I've listened to a lot of, books on tape and talks, and also the mom community has been huge in my life. We need each other. Because you find that people are going through this and people do have good advice. So my best armor is just educating myself, and however I can do that, I do. I want to learn. I want to know more. Yeah. And it has given me a very, that kids struggle with this. So it makes me more compassionate and if I can help another mom or another child just by talking about it, then it's worth it. Yeah, totally. I'm glad that you're willing to share it here. I know it's a little bit more of a public place, but it really does, like, you have no idea how much comfort that can bring to somebody listening right now who's like, I felt like I was the only one. And even though you know you're not, you still wonder, am I the only one who kind of like has a hard time finding the compassion or has a hard time dealing with like the next steps, because it's scary. It's really hard to take those first steps and those next steps when it comes to finding a solution. So It's just so comforting to hear somebody else having gone through it or, is in the middle of it. It's so comforting. Yes. And there's hope. That's what I want to share. There's hope, and it is a journey, and we're still on that journey. He definitely has good days and bad days, but we're in it together, and we're trying our best. Yeah. Well, that's the best you can do. And I really love kind of what you said to me in an email, that you're a big proponent of like finding joy in the journey and that happiness is a choice. I can hear that in your voice. I really can. It's so sweet. It's so much perspective determines our joy levels. It is. I've been through hard times, which I know we all have, but I think, I was determined to enjoy my battles and to know that the story of my life will ultimately be a happy one. Like I want that happiness. And I know, I've done a lot of reading about happiness, and I know that, a lot of it is just our intentional behaviors. What are we doing to make ourselves happy? So I have just found so much joy and happiness in being grateful and being generous. And I'm a big proponent in meditation and words of affirmation and being vulnerable. And yes, so. I love it. You're speaking my language, all these things. You're in the right place right now. I know. I love it. I've listened to so many of your podcasts, and I'm like, oh, we could be friends. Yes. We totally could be friends. You can see how some of my best friends have been born of the podcast, because I get to have these connections with people, and I'm like, okay, I found somebody else who gets to be part of my tribe, like my people. I found you. Yes. And that totally is what it's all about, is just attracting those people that are like-minded. And I find that I'm done with the chaos. I'm done with the drama. I just want to be with my people. I love it. Yeah. So, okay. So speaking of your people, this is such an interesting, I ask everybody kind of what their biggest challenge is. And this is something Jessica mentioned to me. She's like, I don't know if she'll talk about this or not, but it is really fascinating. And I'm sure that there are some lessons gleaned from it that you would share with us. And I know you know what I'm referring to. Yes, I do. I'm guessing you're talking about my marriage. Yes. That was definitely one of my biggest battles. And just to give a quick background, my husband and I got married a little bit later in life. I was 30 and he was 32.
Uh-huh.
And we thought, oh, we have this figured out. What are people talking about? Marriage is easy. And then you just get hit with the tough stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we have this in common. We lost a baby girl at 30 weeks. She died in utero. And I feel like that was the start of maybe our trial. We grieved differently. We weren't communicating. And it turned into a situation for me where I was losing the love. I was losing hope. That communication was gone. And I wasn't happy. And we ended up separating for 18 months and ultimately got divorced. And my husband will say, oh, we didn't need to get divorced. But I feel like it was a time that I could discover what part I played in making that marriage fail. What could I have done better? So it was a lot of self-discovery. And again, that whole happiness journey, like how can I be happy even though I'm a single mom now? And one of the biggest shockers for me was not seeing my kids 50% of the time.
Yeah.
It gave me such a perspective of enjoying the time I spent with them, wanting to be with them. So the happy ending to the story is we started dating again and found that love, and we're remarried. We've only been married for remarried. I guess it's been almost 2 years now.
Wow.
But we learned how to communicate. We learned how to basically serve each other so that we're walking down this path of life together, holding hands now and checking in with each other. And before we were on separate paths, separate goals. So I'm just so happy that I had that time. It stinks to be divorced, but looking back, I don't know that I would change it.
Interesting. So how long were you divorced in between?
So we were separated for 18 months and divorced for a little over a year.
Okay.
So it was about 2.5 years that I was, quote unquote, on my own.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's like it is a happy ending. It's like what's that movie called? The Parent Trap.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm sure your kids were really excited when you got back together. And it's probably taught them a lot about forgiveness and reconciliation and all of those things. I'm not saying like every marriage should find a way to get back together, but it's kind of one of the pluses that comes out of an otherwise kind of weird, complicated situation. I'm sure
Definitely.
It's made everybody closer in the long run.
Yes. The kids, I'm not even sure that they knew exactly what was going on because they were so young.
Yeah.
But they definitely noticed, when Dad wasn't here and why do we have to go now and what's happening?
Yeah.
But the day that we told them, okay, Daddy's moving back in, we're going to be a happy family again. It was amazing. And their countenance changed, their happiness and definitely went up. And I'm so thankful that it did have the happy ending and that we didn't have to go at this, by ourselves.
Yeah, I'm glad too. It sounds like a fun happy ending. They should make a movie.
I know. I don't.
Make sure there's cinnamon rolls and cupcakes in the movie, though.
There you go. That's all part of the happy ending. Cupcakes and cinnamon rolls.
Oh my gosh, I can see the movie cover right now.
And I'm like, who would play me? I don't know. Someone.
That's kind of fun to determine who would play the role of your life if they ever made a movie about it. I know sometimes I feel like I need a reality show. Not because I think I'm super exciting, but my life is just so weird sometimes that somebody needs to be recording this.
I know. I think about that all the time and how I would like to be a fly on a wall to see.
Yes.
I would love to come see your life. I think it's fascinating what you're doing, the podcast, and
Yeah.
I would love to be a fly on the wall.
I would love to be a fly on so many walls. It's so true. Like, I would love to see inside and know what makes me weird and know what makes me normal in comparison with other people's lives. So strange. But, like, I love that. I think I love being a fly on the wall when people have babies. It's just so fun to secondhandedly experience life with people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I totally agree.
It's
And like you said, am I weird? Am I the only person that does this?
Exactly. There's no way we can be the only weird ones. Everybody's weird in their own way, right?
I agree.
Well, I think I could talk to you forever and ever, but I want you to tell everybody what you're reading right now.
Okay. It's funny. I have kind of like a rotation in my books. And so I try to do like a self-help, a history, or a biography, and then like a fiction novel. And I've read this book before, but I'm reading it again, and it's just called The How-To of Happiness.
Ooh.
And I can't even remember who the author is now, but it's a woman, and it's fascinating, and I love it, and it's a good reminder. She gives like a scientific background. They've done studies on identical twins, on fraternal twins, on what makes us happy and how we actually have control over our happiness.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. It sounds like a good one. You don't need to find the author. We'll make sure that we post it in the show notes so everybody can look it up, because I love good book recommendations, and that sounds like a fun one. Have you read The Happiness Advantage?
I haven't.
Probably, I don't know how much they would have in common, but it's just a little bit more of like the results of, being happy and finding happiness and everything. It's been a while since I've read it. Maybe I'll read that one again too, but anything that has happy in the title is good.
Exactly. I know. I love it. I'm a big fan of like the TED Talks.
Yes.
So I'll listen to those a lot, and anything that's inspiring and uplifting.
Yeah, because why not?
I'm all about that.
Exactly. There's so much time in the day, and yet there's not. And so if you're filling any of that spare time with good, uplifting things, you're going to be so much more enriched and so much more capable of filling the rest of your time with good things, as opposed to filling it with, stuff that's maybe not. There's something left to be desired.
I love that. And I have heard you mention on a podcast about the Miracle Morning.
Mm-hmm.
I love that book, and I have tried to integrate that in my life. It's probably been about a year now.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't follow it,
You got to find what works for you. Yeah, you find your own flow, but the general idea is really, really cool.
Yes, I love it.
That's
so
awesome.
I try to do that, and the days that I don't, I can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely makes a huge impact on your day-to-day. Like, it's that owning your day instead of your day owning you. That's like the most powerful part of it, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad that you read it. I'm glad that you have incorporated it into your life. I need to be better at doing that a little more consistently than I do.
I feel like you have so much going on.
I know. I need to cut back a little so that I have the ability to kind of control my life instead of my life being out of control.
I'm sure it's not out of control, but it's picking the things, like you said, that are going to uplift and enrich us. And I'm sure you have a lot of good choices.
Yeah, well, sitting here talking to you is one of them. Really, it's one of the best parts about what I do, and why I will probably never stop doing this podcast. I'm sure people thought for a while I was stopping because there was a big lull while I was busy doing something else. But it's so powerful, and it's so much a part of why I've been successful in other things, is being able to learn from other women and other moms, and that comfort of knowing that I'm not doing it all wrong, but that I can keep doing better, that it's okay to like push myself.
I love that. That is so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I love you, and I'm grateful that you've been on here to hang out with me and chat with me and make me salivate for cupcakes. So funny. Like, I'm a sugaraholic. All you had to do is mention it, and now it's going to be in my head all day long. So,
well, if I can figure out how to ship so it stays fresh, I don't know if it's dry ice and FedEx and all of that, I'll send you some.
Just send me a recipe, and I'll try my hardest to duplicate it or something like that.
Okay, done. Do
one little switch so that your secret recipe isn't completely exposed. Just add in one more ingredient or take away one.
No, there's only one recipe I don't give away. Otherwise, I'm a free-for-all. So it's my chocolate chip recipe I don't give away, but everything else I do.
Nice. Well, I've got an okay chocolate chip one, so that's okay. I can survive. But
Okay,
someday I've got to have them in real life, and maybe you can share a recipe with our listeners on the blog. We can list one of your favorites.
Sure. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. You guys just got like a double whammy win today. Great episode, new recipe. It's a win.
Thank you.
Okay, so finally, you have to answer the best question of all. What makes you a marvelous mom?
Oh. What makes me a marvelous mom? I just want to say I am a marvelous mom because I love my kids unconditionally and I'm there for them when they need me and they bring me such joy, and that makes me marvelous.
Oh my gosh. Couldn't agree more. Those are great answers and great things to be proud of as a mom. So very wonderful answer. Thank you so much, Emily, for being a guest. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And to the rest of you guys listening, have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Please tell me I'm not the only one who doesn't enjoy spending hours at the makeup counter or even on the makeup aisles at Target. If you are like me and you struggle and you feel like makeup should be fun and not stressful and overwhelming, then you need to check out Mascara Beauty. I am obviously a huge advocate for mascara. It's one of my favorite companies in the entire world. It's my favorite makeup line, and it has saved my life. I can do my makeup while I'm in the line for carpool. I can do it in under 5 minutes. So if you want to learn more about mascara, go to marvelousmascara.com to check it out.